Welcome to Healthy Isolation. I'm your host, Professor Luke Prosper, and today we're going to start covering issues regarding emotional strength. The first issue that you need to consider when it comes to being in isolation is the fact that you are alone. Being in this little room with nobody else to depend on but yourself, to take care of your child and all the needs that are surrounding them is a big issue. In this time, if you don't find a way to connect with people or a way to bridge the gap between you and the outside world, you will really, really struggle with a lot of darkness. One of the biggest problems, one of the biggest struggles that I have is that nobody outside of this little room who hasn't had this experience can really understand what you're going through. All right, nobody. Not your best friend, not your husband or your wife. Nobody can really understand what it's like. I've observed, some couples, when one person comes out, the other person is like, oh, well, yeah, it must have been pretty relaxing in there. Yeah, right. No, it's not. And it's a lot to deal with. And so what you really need to realize is that you are alone in here. But there are ways that you can make yourself not so alone. What you really need to do is to cultivate a community. How can you cultivate a community while you're in here? Well, one of the ways you can do it is through WeChat or through something online. If you can create a structure or a group of people who are behind you and supporting you and encouraging you, who you can tell your struggles to, who you can tell when you've had a bad day, this is something that's very, very valuable. Another thing that you can do is just to connect with a trusted friend. Somebody who is not going to give you advice, somebody who is not going to try to explain to you why you should be happy or why you should, that they're safe. Somebody who you can tell what you're feeling without them needing to try to make you feel better. And if you have a friend like that, awesome, but realize that they're limited and that they really can't understand what you're going through, even if you tell them. Another person that you can talk to is your partner, your husband or your wife. But in this case, your spouse is also dealing with a lot on the outside, and they really can't understand you, and so sometimes it actually creates more of a barrier when you try to talk to that person. And so you want to keep that in mind as well. One last way that you can create a community while you're in here is if you have a religious belief of some kind. This is a great opportunity to talk to God. He doesn't talk back very much, but he listens really well. and you can communicate on that level if you have that kind of spiritual support. And so the biggest thing that you will have to face in this little room is yourself. And if you can do that, if you can accept your situation rather than trying to blame other people or blame other people for not understanding you, if you accept the fact that I am alone in here, and other people, they can support me, they can encourage me, but they can't understand me, this will help you to have a healthy isolation. Because nobody can do it for you, all right? Nobody can take responsibility for your life. You are the only one who can do that, and you can do that, all right? And so we'll stop here for today, but I want you to know that there are people who have been through what you're going through, and they made it. You can do it too. Okay? All right. I'll see you next time.